Lombardi's Trophy continues.
Hey, we're going to win. It's going to be on us.
The NFL playoffs rock this weekend.
Playoff football, fellas.
Sunday, 2 big games. First, C.J. Stroud and his Texans line up against Drake May and his Patriots.
Win to go home.
Then Matthew Stafford and the Rams go head-to-head with Caleb Williams and the Bears.
Championship mindset, let's go.
Coverage starts at 2 on your home for Super Bowl 60, WSJS.
We know it's cold right now, but you can get a jump on your projects with Black Sand Company. Yes, now's the time to get ahead of your neighbors. Black Sand Company delivers the materials you need when you need them. Sand, gravel, topsoil, and mulch.
Whether you're a home builder, commercial contractor, or a DIY enthusiast, Black Sand Company provides prompt, dependable, and courteous service. Weather's not an issue for them. Is it for you? Black Sand Company, 745 West Clementsville Road in Winston-Salem, where great projects begin.
Spartan Nation.
Swish! He hit it!
When blue and gold pride fills the air.
The jumper, it is good!
Mount Tabor basketball on our sister station, AM 1340 and 103.5 FM, The Light.
Step back triple try, yes sir!
Spartans basketball, presented by Jerry Hudd Supercenter, the king of pre-owned vehicles in Lexington and Salisbury.
Lobs it up for a power slam dunk.
Mount Tabor basketball is also made possible by our friends at Play It Again Sports, with locations in High Point, Greensboro, and Winston-Salem. By Pat's Body Shop and Towing, providing exceptional service in the Triad for over 60 years.
Heads in 2-3, rattles it down from the right wing.
Our proud sponsors help bring these games to life, like Dario Restaurants, where the whole family can taste the Dario difference every day. And by Haviland Express Lib and Service in Kernersville, where the road to greatness starts here.
Takes it to the hole, lays it in.
Mount Tabor basketball, full schedule at WSJS.com.
Waking Up Proud on WSJS. Fueling fans, flavor, and fun. The morning show that's always on the prowl.
Make way for the king.
This is Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck.
It's been 11 years since the Bison have had a winning record. So the school has already decided, hey, we're going to pause High Point Central's football season for next year. But really, what is this all about? And what's the future for the program? I'll have those details for you. Plus, I think there's really an underlying thing that's happening inside and around the High Point community, especially with its sports. So we're going to talk about that this morning on Waking Up Proud. I am Steven, and thanks for making us a part of your Saturday and your weekend to get set and ready. We'll have Hot Off the Prowl coming up. My unpopular opinion, we've got a great guest in Dave Pulaski that's going to join us. He is the voice of the game of the week in high school football here on WSJS. And so we want to get his thoughts about what I'll be talking about in a second with the Bison's football program coming up. Plus, I have a little bit of a Yellowstone, John Dutton Ranch. If you're into that series that was on TV, I've got something for you coming up next hour that's happening right here at home in North Carolina. Plus, I'll tell you, the weather is a story outside too. So plenty to get to this morning. All throughout, you can join us as well at 336-777-1600. And if you're at home and you'd rather see me and stream this, you can do that as well on our X page at Stephen Beck PS and also at WSJS Radio. As I said, though, news came out. High Point Central football program not going to be playing their varsity games coming up this season. They've already suspended it for the next school year, but still will have a JV team out there. Now, I did speak with Principal Mike Hettenbach, and I'll give you a little bit more of the details that he directly shared with me over the phone. But for those that may have not heard this story, I want to give you a few more of the underlying details to consider because they're real. And I would never pretend I'm a huge high school football follower or savant. That's why I have to fall back on Dave Pulaski, who, as I stated, will be joining us, and he can give us more details as well. But from my outside look towards this, there's some items that are difficult to stomach. if you're an athlete of sports, if you're a fan of the team, definitely from the administration standpoint, because again, everything that you're doing, you want to drive towards success. So the varsity football team for High Point Central, if you haven't been following as much, they didn't win a game this last season. And worse than that, they scored 0 points. They were outscored 523-0. In the past 2 seasons, they've been completely winless. 0-10, 0-10. Nothing to show for the efforts and the practice and all the different things that go into a football program. The year prior, they won just 1 game. And so you have to go deep all the way back to 2015 to finally find a winning season for Central football. And at first look at this, I'll be honest. I said, well, that's not really teaching a great lesson, is it? Are they just kind of taking their ball and going home? I don't know if you've ever been there at younger ages. Definitely for myself, and being out there and playing baseball or football or basketball with friends, and all of a sudden you look up and you're on the losing side of things. But hey, this is my ball. This is my basketball. You guys can figure it out. I'm out. I'll see you. And part of that is where I thought, okay, the lesson learned here for young, impressionable minds isn't that good if we're just canceling things. We're not going to play football anymore for this year because we haven't scored or because we've been losing. But as I said, I got on the phone. Not everybody would be as gracious with their time, and so I want to say thank you to the principal at High Point Central. Again, his name, Mike Hettenbach, and he and I spent some time going back and forth so I could understand more, so I could learn a little bit more of their insight into what is this really all about. And it's a much deeper problem if you're 30,000 foot away from it like I have been. College football, in it. NFL football, all about it. I won't lie, high school football hasn't been entrenched in my DNA. And maybe I'm part of the problem a little bit. The High Point community, the sports community that can really reel in a lot of outsiders and different people from different walks of life and different connections, I think it's struggling right now. First, Mike's thoughts from this whole ordeal. He came in 4 years ago as the new principal at the time of High Point Central. And his directive at the time was to improve every facet of the school. That's a great mindset. Anybody like myself from a business standpoint, taking over a new business as I have, that's the first directive. Like, hey, this is what you've done. It may not all be broken, but let's try to push it forward. Let's try to make things better. But what he walked into is he's walked into, at Central particularly, a varsity roster that was depleted and very small. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of energy and involvement around it. At parts during this last season, due to injuries and other things, there was as few as 17 players that they had available to play. And, on the college football side of things, to give you a comparison, they're trying to dress in the 50s number of players. So everything that he was looking up against has to be reworked. And it starts, according to Mike, much beyond his jurisdiction directly there at Central. It starts all the way down to, for instance, Pee Wee football. Recently, he shared that there was 100 different Pee Wee football players utilizing the fields outside of Central High School. And he stepped out with somewhat of an amazement, like, hey, wow, this is great to see all this influx of interest and new faces that are going to be coming up in my ranks eventually, maybe. And found out that just in this particular instance, there was only about 5 of those players that would end up feeding throughout the full High Point district, maybe even Guilford County district worth of those players. But what Mike is committed to, and this is where I do respect this decision from where I stood originally, thinking, man, this kind of seems a little raw and unfair, especially for those already there at the school. They're trying to finish out their career. They want to really, end up being a senior that goes out on top, so to speak. Where I felt bad originally for them, the mindset and the thought and what really is at stake here is much greater than just on the face and on the surface. And so Mike is committed to reaching out to Ferndale, which is the middle school that ends up feeding into Central. He's committed to trying to get former High Point Central athletes that have shown that they've had success in collegiate and maybe even as high as NFL ranks to come back and try to encourage involvement in the program. He's trying to take athletes that play in other sports at the school directly to be a multi-sport athlete and get involved. But from High Point community members, they've also reached out to me. And one, a good supporter of the Waking Up Proud program here, Mike is his name as well, and he shared with me that potentially the ramifications of the surrounding community there in High Point, a city that I was born and raised in and that I love, that its community is sitting and looking up at the face of a mountain of where it once was, with involvement and pride of community and sports connecting all the dots and bringing everybody together, to where it sits now. One of the very unique infrastructures that we have in place here at WSJS is that we talk local. We connect communities. And it's really what I'm excited about with Waking Up Proud. That's the whole segment of this show. It's to reach North Carolina folks just like myself, and it's to share good fun and laughs and things happening. But right now, I think with High Point, we're sitting on the other side of a shattered community where the good old days have kind of just passed us by. I don't share this a ton, but I am actually an entrepreneur that has an ownership stake in the furniture industry. And gone are the majority of the blue-collar manufacturing, textile, and furniture jobs and businesses that once sat right in High Point and sustained that community and its members for so long. The community chatter and involvement of pride that was localized right around sports nights right there inside High Point at Central football games and Andrew football games and other events. Now that some of this blue-collar work and jobs has gone, I also feel like the sense of community and folks coming together has left in some sense with it. At least that is the veteran perspective of, like I said, the supporter in Mike and community member in High Point there shared with me. And all the ties to businesses and local schools, employees as parents and players that are trying to get to local colleges and recruiting, and all this is just flushed out. And I was thinking about this, and it took me back to, I was probably early in my college career at the time at High Point University, and there was a show out called Hoover. I'm not sure if that rings true with a lot of people and they even remember it, but the gist of the show was it was situated in Alabama. It was young high school football players, and it followed them and their journey of just their life, but their time spent playing football and trying to get recruited and make college teams. And it really spoke to the nostalgia of what is being missed in High Point right now. I mean, how popular is discussion around Andrews and Central football? And that rivalry game that used to pack out A.J. Simeon Stadium in High Point, is that even still a thing? Are people rabid about attending that and getting together with their fellow community members and meeting you down at the local watering hole to talk about their kids playing and what's happening with the team and who's the coach and what's going on. So it's like we're staring into a much deeper, significant problem than just one football team only having a few handful of players that they could dress and get out on the field. My hope here is that Dave Pulaski, voice of WSJS Games of the Week, can share some more insight. We'll hear from him coming up. Plus, more football talk on the way coming up here on Waking Up Proud.
This Tuesday afternoon at 2, something big happens on WSJS.
Hey, Josh Graham here.
No, not that guy. He's still here. This guy.
I don't know, but it makes me laugh.
Yep. And he'll be followed by these guys.
What's going on?
What's up?
The drive is swirling. The drive is buzzing. And we'll drive it all home this Tuesday afternoon at 2 when Sports Talk hits top gear on WSJS.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
The Twin City Thunderbirds bring you an electrifying night of hockey that your team will never forget.
Perfect for employee appreciation, team building, or celebrating milestones. This is entertainment that fits any group size.
Feel the adrenaline as the thunder rises and rivals fall. Make it a company outing like no other.
Like Frosty Fridays, all beer just $4. And all Saturday games enjoy $2 hot dogs.
Affordable, unforgettable, and just a click away at TwinCityThunderbirds.com.
Bring the storm. Let it thunder.
In a world that moves a million miles a second, Haagen-Dazs invites you to slow down and savor every delicious bite. Take it one almond at a time with the Haagen-Dazs Vanilla Milk Chocolate Almond Bar. Madagascar vanilla, rich milk chocolate, and toasted California almonds make this unmatched icon legendary. Whatever Dazs you savor, a snack bar or your favorite flavor, say goodbye to the fast life and hello to savoring the finest ingredients and the richest and creamiest ice cream. That's Dazs, available at retailers nationwide.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Where Carolina sports meets Carolina flavor.
Wake up out of bed and claim it. It's all waiting for you now. Say it.
You're waking up proud with Stephen Beck.
We're back, waking up proud, helping to get you start and ready. Another great weekend ahead. Some weather outside. We'll be talking more about that. In fact, it's part of my unpopular opinion. But all of this a part of the News Talk sports station of the Triad, WSJS. And you can stream online. Take us with you on the go, WSJS.com. Football also with us as part of your involvement with us tomorrow, because we have the Houston Texans at the Patriots, our coverage starting at 2 p.m., as well as the evening game tomorrow That'll be the LA Rams at Chicago Bears, and that coverage starting at 6:15. So again, all of that can be found here as part of our coverage of the playoffs. But I wanted to get in and discuss some of these divisional games. We actually have football to be played here, and it's not like it's the Central Bison team that we just shared. We're pausing their season. We're trying to get some stuff finished up in the league, and it's going to start with the first divisional round game coming up. That is right here between the Bills and the Broncos. You know, Josh Allen, he's been playing at a level in the playoffs that is just fully required by the Bills if they want to have any sense of success. The Broncos are going to be a team that has had full rest now since they didn't play a weekend ago, and their defense is nasty. It's led the league with 68 sacks. I find this one interesting because Bo Nix is so young, and it's hard to really put tabs on whether or not this is really a franchise quarterback or just a game manager, kind of same situation that I've seen in Carolina with Bryce Young. Just not enough evidence yet to see what his legacy is really going to look like. First game up, though, I like the Bills. I think it's a road dog that gets an upset there in the Mile High Stadium. And I don't know that, again, the experience there is going to be quite where it needs to be for Bo Nix to really make a big difference to help his defense out, honestly. The 49ers also are going to be playing the Seahawks in the divisional round. That game is in Seattle, where these two rivals, they've been back and forth a lot this year. They've already had their regular season matchups. Those were split between the two, where the 49ers won in week 1, Seahawks won here towards the tail end of the season in week 18. Brock Purdy, of course, coming back from the injury, really lit a fire into the 49ers to help them. But remember, Kittle is out now. He's got that injury, so Christian McCaffrey is going to have to pick up the load. Of course, Panthers fans know all about his abilities and the run and the pass game. But while I was talking about how good the Broncos defense was, wow, I don't know that it pales anywhere in comparison to the Seattle defense. When Seattle played the Panthers late in the season, the yards after catch were non-existent. Anything short of the sticks, the Seahawks defense was on top of it in a flash. Now, Seattle actually is a favorite in this game. -7 is the spread, and Sam Darnold also has had some availability questions because he's battling a little bit of an injury, but from right now where we sit, it sounds as if he's going to go. So in this one, I would take the Seahawks. Rams Bears, that's coming up tomorrow in Chicago, a game where we're seeing the Cinderella team. I'm a college basketball guy, and there's Cinderellas in the NCAA tournament all the time that catch attention. Well, if you like that in the NFL, I know Joel Klatt doesn't, then Chicago is got to be your team. That huge comeback in the wild card round where they beat the Packers with Caleb Williams being almost like a Jekyll Hyde. He's had moments where I know, especially last year, it was like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? And what kind of mistakes did we make drafting this guy? But now he's had some periods this season where he's flying all over the field, making ridiculously difficult plays. And he led Chicago in that 18-point comeback win, getting the Bears their first playoff victory since 2010. The Rams, though, are a team that are full high-powered offense. And the Panthers a week ago found ways to stay up with Matt Stafford and his MVP season. It's kind of interesting. Are we going to get Stafford? Are we going to get Drake May on the MVP discussion? That is, I am interested to know if the Bears, their Cinderella style run, and the factor that you have to go back into the history books a little bit to think about, that Peanut Tillman factor And if you know, you know. He's in there punching the ball out, forcing turnovers. If that happens, I really think the Bears could pull another second straight upset here. The spread, Rams minus 3.5. I would take the Rams in this game. Final game, and I'm rifling through some of these because there's a much bigger story for me around this final one between the Texans and the Patriots. That's going to be a game that you can hear on WSJS, has already shared our coverage starting at 2. Drake May, I already mentioned, he's had also a season that is competing with Stafford as whether or not it could be in the MVP discussion. And honestly, he is the king of the North. Him and his wife, Ann Michael, they're king and queen of the North, and they are basically filling in and making up a lot of lost time after Brady exited with the Patriots fanhood. Now, the Texans, their defense, much like what I'd mentioned about Seattle, everything in their game against the Steelers a week ago was creating havoc for Rodgers. It was making up for a lot of turnovers and problems with what we saw from Stroud. Man, I like having the Bears and the Rams game to pick before this one because I think this one's much more difficult, but I like the Pats. So we'll have more on the way in terms of this discussion with NFL football generally around this game. Coming up next on Waking Up Proud.
Coffee Roasters in High Point. A sip of heaven that took a right turn at delicious and landed in the hearts of coffee lovers everywhere. With its fresh specialty roasted beans crafted to order, each cup is a journey from smooth blends to bold global roast. Only Foster Hobbs could brew this kind of magic, and it's called coffee. Now available at fosterhobbs.com. Brew your bliss today.
Life's hustle got you down? What if there was a place where passion and excitement collide, where the roar of the crazies fills the air and champions are forged? Welcome to Duke Basketball, where brotherhood is built and every game is an electrifying experience. From Cameron Indoor to the World, join John Shire and his Blue Devils in their thrilling march. Feel the rush. Live the legacy. Catch every game on WSJS, and the complete Duke basketball schedule is at WSJS.com.
Fans first, always. Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck.
Back on the other side, Waking Up Proud here on WSJS, and I am Steven. Before we jump right back into those NFL playoffs to finish up thoughts on the Pats game, I want to get you started and ready for your Saturday out there.
Hot off the prowl with Stephen Beck.
The weather is certainly our top story this morning. As you look outside, it's been a mixture of things happening between rain and sleet, and it's all over the map with what we could see throughout the rest of this weekend. Chance of snow tomorrow is 55%, but it should all clear out by Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. Highs today, which I think we've already hit, were 49. Tomorrow, 39. Monday, 45. And with the fluctuation in the weather, is all of this creating more and more problems when it comes to illness? There's more confirmed cases of measles that have now hit North Carolina. 2 new ones identified, and that makes a total now of 9 confirmed cases since December. There's been about 550 in comparison, though, to South Carolina, which is sneaking close to our border, but we got to be thankful that we're not directly facing that yet. And a group of monks have really been a big viral story throughout the country, honestly. They're currently on a multi-state walk, they say, for peace. And they're going to actually arrive to our neck of the woods in the Triad coming up around tomorrow night into Monday. It's not exact as to when they'll be there and where they'll exactly be, and why is because they're on a 120-day, 2,300-mile walk. That's right, on their own 2 feet from Texas to Washington, D.C. for this piece. And they're supposed to come right through High Point and meet folks at Truist Point in downtown and make their way over to Greensboro after they've come through Charlotte and Salisbury and other parts of the state, and they'll make their way eventually, as I said, all the way to D.C. And they've got a dog with them that's also caught some news stories. He injured his leg, had to go get surgery, came back. It's all sorts of interest there as regarding to why they're doing it and how they're doing it. And I don't know that I could ever walk that many miles, that's for sure. I wanted to finish up thoughts because we kind of just got hit up against it there with this Patriots and Texans game in the divisional round. And the reason why I feel like it's more significant to talk about is because I have a hot take that rolls with this. I feel like, being an NFL fan, that when the Patriots are good, the NFL as a whole is a better product. The NFL already dominates when it comes to really anything media-based, I'll say. TV, those numbers are out there and obvious. If you just go and compare them to any other thing that is sports-related, really, for the Super Bowl, it tops everything. So it's hard to think that the product needs any extra push, but I still say that from the TV ratings we just mentioned, the fact that the league has a villain, attendance numbers boosted in road stadiums, merch and revenue produced by the fans of the Pats, and something, again, that just any old common fan that isn't in New England can talk about and say, hey, those Patriots, man, we hate them, and just talk with their vitriol about the Pats. I feel like it makes everything better about the Shield. Drake May, being a local North Carolina product, probably makes the Pats something stomached a little bit easier in our neck of the woods than it ever was with Tom and with Edelman and Gronk and all the good old guys that they had there at one point before they took a back seat to many of the other teams in the league. But now that they're back in the playoffs, first time in some time, they're seeing success with Drake May. Their defense is much improved now with their new leadership in the past couple years. I just feel like the NFL needs a team like this. And they had it with Dallas. Dallas can't do that anymore, so the Pats picked up that for a while. I'd say the Kansas City Chiefs are another good example of what I'm trying to explain, but now they're kind of down and they missed the playoffs this year. It's kind of like Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan had in the NBA and LeBron at one point. You could also go back to Major League Baseball and say that the Yankees have done it for that league, and you just need a dominant team. Where as much as people hate it, I think that's the Patriots. Now, what NASCAR, that hasn't even started its season yet and will do so coming up in February, what they're trying to look for is anything at all relatable to the success that the NFL has had. And we shared last week on Waking Up Proud, they're seeing some structural changes at the top of the sport, trying to figure out, okay, who's going to be the new commissioner and what direction are we going to do? And they announced this week that they would actually be going backwards to a former format that many fans I know have shared excitement about. If you haven't heard, they're bringing back the Chase. It's a 10-race playoff format, elimination style, And the last time that they used it was back in 2014. The chase is not going to allow these win and end spots anymore. How it'll actually work is that the top 16 drivers in points after the 26 race regular season will qualify. And so how they finally crown a champion in this format that they're going back to is that driver will accumulate points throughout the season, make the chase, and then the most points over that 10 race chase, that winner is your NASCAR champion. And this was something that they're hearkening back to 2004 timeframe when I think they launched off the chase. And like I said, the last time that they were without it was in 2014. It's funny how sports right now, I think, is at a crossroads across a lot of different league formats. The NFL's not one of them. They've got it figured out. I just felt like, hey, if you want it to be 10 times greater, yeah, that's going to have a dominant team a part of it to be a storyline and a talking point and a revenue generator. But other than that, they've kind of got things figured out. But I'll tell you the ones that don't right now. The NASCAR chase coming back, they're obviously trying to get back to where they once were in a better time. College football, yes, they have the playoff, but is it really exactly figured out yet? Is it where fans want it to really be? I don't think so. Major League Baseball, NBA, I feel like they've been stale for about 15 years. And now, with teams like the Dodgers making record-breaking deals, it's highly likely that Major League Baseball is going to face a lockout coming up. But even if they didn't, I still feel like their seasons are too long. Things are kind of dull and stale, and it's just a product that needs some kind of influx and something. College basketball is the one that I would have formerly said, yeah, it's on par with the NFL. They've got things right. Good product. Lots of involvement. Has the championship set up the right way with March Madness and the NCAA tournament. Not anymore, though. And my fear is if folks could look into the future and say, okay, NASCAR, they just got rid of a commissioner that's calling people rednecks. They are trying to get their playoff format back to where it once was. They're trying to figure out ways to get fans in the seats because of events like the Cookout Clash in our own backyard at Bowman Gray Stadium. I mean, all these moves and shifts, I feel like, are the correct ones to make. Let's do something. Let's be proactive. College basketball right now is facing, I would say, a really big dilemma. You keep letting professional players come backwards, you're going to end up ruining your sport. You try to expand the NCAA tournament that has been solid and set already, you're going to end up ruining your sport. The transfer without any type of repercussions as many times as you want to as many different schools as you want, don't have to sit out where it's a free-for-all and a free agent, you're going to end up ruining your sport. It's funny to me how all you have to do is consider something like the NASCAR product, scratching and clawing to try to get things back to where they once were. And we're right here at the precipice of a couple of different sports, college football, college basketball, mainly in my mind, that could potentially go down a rabbit hole or road that they don't want to get to. Appreciate you being with us. More on the way on the news, sports talk station of the Triad, WSJS.
When your little one has a cold with a fever, try new DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. It's the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever offers fast, effective cold and fever relief for kids ages 6 and up with a delicious grape flavor that kids love. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever will help them feel better fast so they can get back to the fun stuff quickly. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
From Cameron Indoor to the world, this excitement is built on brotherhood, where the crazies roar. Experience the passion, the pride, the power that is Duke basketball. Ready for another March run.
Striking like thunder. You can never stop me. Nah.
This afternoon, the Blue Devils stay out west and visit the Stanford Cardinal. Catch every moment on WSJS. Complete schedule at WSJS.com.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
At Second Harvest Food Bank, they believe everyone deserves to eat. Too many families across Northwest North Carolina are struggling to keep food on their tables. With your help, Second Harvest Food Bank can change that. Together, they can make people's lives better and build food-secure and healthy communities for all. Give today and become a meal maker, volunteer, host a food drive, or lend your voice and advocate. Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina, Shore Fair Drive in Winston-Salem. Online at secondharvestnwnc.org.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Mr. Griffin.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Hey, everybody, this is Jeffrey Griffin. Christian and I won't be with you Monday as we're home to celebrate and observe the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, but we'll be back Tuesday morning for Triad Today. The time for class, Between the Pages, Mom Life, Brain Power, and a whole lot more. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday at 7. Bye-bye.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? It seems impossible to find them. Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Carolina sports, Carolina pride. Here's Stephen Beck on Waking Up Prowell.
Back on Waking Up Proud, I am Stephen. Follow along on X with me at Stephen Beck PS. Give us a call throughout if you have thoughts at 336-777-1600. And don't forget to stream with us at WSJS.com. It's now time, as we normally try to do, to get a little bit off my chest this morning.
It's time now. Stephen's unpopular opinion.
Yeah, so as you may have heard and hot off the proud, we'll give you more updates on that this next hour. The weather has been a pretty top story, I'd say, in our area all the way back to Christmas now, because it's like we can't get set and settled. If you haven't noticed, which I'm sure you have, one day it's warm, one day it's cold. One day it's raining, one day it's sunny. And yes, I'm born and raised here, so I have seen this North Carolina bipolar weather. But I'm here to say today that it is way worse in winter when it has this up and down fluctuation, roller coaster all over the place. I would rather it just remain cold. That it gets cold, it gets colder, and that's winter for you all the way up until, hey, okay, now it's finally springtime. And why? Well, flu is another part to North Carolina news that has been on the rise, in the headlines, lots of cases, lots of hospital stays. And when the weather goes up and down and all over the place, I don't know if this is true or not a scientist, but what you've always heard is that changes like that in weather, the rapid swings really do kind of affect the body. There's stress on the immune system. Viruses start spreading a lot faster and quicker, and the undressing, overdressing, like how do you prepare for the day? That's one aspect of it. This inconsistency that you can clearly tell we have, it just won't allow for me personally to kind of build up a foundation to what I'm going to face with colder temps. Like after we had the unseasonably warm temps, what was that, like last week or so? And now it flips to this. I walk outside and it's a complete shockwave to the system. What I don't know that I can really speak on, but I know has to be something that is absolutely real when there's fluctuations in weather like this. Imagine if you're a gardener or a farmer and you have to try to plan and navigate and figure out, okay, when do I actually try to get my crops in the ground and when will this actually harvest later because of all of this? Here's one. Do you have your body fit and ready for the spring, summer attire? That image that so many people take the off season or the colder months where they can cover themselves in jackets and sweatshirts and loose fitting clothing to cover up before they've done their sit-ups and their weightlifting and their calisthenic training. Are you ready to show off the guns? Arguably, I feel like my unpopular opinion here of let's just do away with warmer weather in the winter time specifically, it's kind of in line for my vantage point with time change. Both of those, they just, for the body, make it super difficult to get situated and settled. And I'll tell you, it's kind of like getting up on a Saturday. You're trying to roll over and what was that, honey? Put the coffee on, Foster Hobbs. Well, you could find yourself as a Jessica, nagging somebody. You're not quite awake yet. Your personality is probably a little prickly. I hadn't heard of this, but I knew I had to share it because there's got to be more people like myself that's not a Gen Z. A Gen Z person, by the way, are somewhere between 14 and 28 years old right now. They were born in 97 to 2012. I didn't know exactly what generation Gen Z was, but they've apparently now come up with a new name to supplant what was Karen. Karen was the name that was being utilized to say that a person, usually like middle-aged, a lot of times it would be a female, but they would be demanding and that they would be kind of entitled and they try to use their privilege to get what they want. And like I said, their personality is rough. The Gen Z populace has decided, I guess that name didn't really fit with what they recognize now as Jessica. So now on social media, it's become more prevalent and popular that Jessica is used when somebody's overreacting to some type of mundane situation, or they're adulting with their attitude as opposed to just being young. So the fluctuations, from my unpopular opinion with the weather and whatever else is happening, I'm going to end up being a Jessica to somebody if I can't actually get situated and settled. There is somebody that you would feel like in North Carolina would be more settled and more better off and not have moments of Jessica or Karen, unhappiness, dissatisfaction. And that is Mr. Beast, known otherwise as Jimmy Donaldson, which I really don't know that anybody utilizes that name. But he is a North Carolina native, and if you haven't heard of him, he's a 27-year-old YouTube star. Entrepreneur, has Beast Industries, huge net worth. $2.6 billion is what people estimate his net worth to be because of all the different media ventures he's had. And I think he has some food items in grocery stores like Beast bars and maybe like a Beast burger that's out there in restaurants, and a lot of different ways that he has tried to grow his platform. In a recent interview, though, 2.6 billion net worth sounds fantastic, little to be upset or complain about. Mr. Beast told the Wall Street Journal, despite his multi-billion-dollar net worth, that he really personally doesn't have much cash in his bank account. That, in fact, he described his bank account as having negative money. He says that his net worth is really all tied up, that it's into this company, and he doesn't really have cash in hand for a lot of things, so much so that he claims that buying a McDonald's breakfast would be difficult for him. Now, I don't know exactly, because without being Jimmy and without being in his bank account, it's kind of hard for anybody to really say. What I'd always heard was that he constantly took all the money that he got off of subscribers and views and the growth that he has seen in that net worth. What I always had heard is he just, reinvests that. He puts it into the next big thing. Whatever his next show or viral sensation moment is that he's trying to create, he just reinvests, which is smart business. But it's not smart if you're not at least pocketing something and putting it away for a rainy day, for a day where the weather's fluctuating like it is outside our window. Jimmy and Mr. Beast is claiming that harder times could be near for him despite having $2.6 billion worth of worth out there. Lots coming up next hour here on Waking Up Proud, including we're going to have the voice of WSJS high school football games of the week during season, Dave Pulaski, joining us more on High Point Central's football program, pausing for the upcoming season. I want to emphasize that it is a pause because in talking with the principal, Mike Hettenbach, he definitely has plans for the Central football team to be back out on the field, to be in a much better situation than it is currently. And it's not like they're just getting away and doing away with the sport. More also in the way of football, because the Carolina Panthers, despite losing last week in the wild card round, we want to try to button up some items, think about what maybe the Panthers need to do throughout the offseason. And last but not least, this one is really intriguing to me. I don't know if we have any Yellowstone fans. I want to say that is approaching its final season on TV. But what I can tell you is I've seen some episodes and have followed it a little. And whatever was going on in and around the Dutton Ranch, oh yeah, it's happening in North Carolina. Excited to have you with us this morning. We have plenty more ahead. 777-1600, your calls. And we appreciate you being a part of Waking Up Proud on WSJS.
I know we got a good thing going. I know we got a good thing going.
In the Triad, WSJS remains your steadfast companion, a symphony of hot takes, cold facts, and lively debates. This year, stop doom scrolling and start tuning in. Keep your ears where they belong. WSJS. Embrace fresh conversations. We keep the Triad informed and entertained. We promise unwavering smart listening on WSJS and WSJS.com.
It's pure delight to sip your morning brew and soul-soothing to savor every drop. Thanks to Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters, where every small batch is roasted to order, crafting flavors that dance on your palate. From smooth everyday blends to bold single origin roast, each cup is a journey around the globe. Fresh, flavorful, and fulfilling. Elevate your coffee experience at Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. A higher quality coffee serving a higher calling. Available at fosterhobbs.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
When you grill with Kingsford charcoal and add Kingsford garlic, onion, and paprika flavor boosters, your special occasion becomes unforgettable.
Wow.
Made with 100% real spices, Kingsford garlic, onion, and paprika flavor boosters can be added to any pre-lit charcoal to add a whole new, rich, full-bodied flavor and aroma to your spring grilling. So good. Look for Kingsford charcoal and Kingsford garlic, onion, and paprika flavor boosters for a mouth-watering flavor experience. Kingsford.com.
We're rocking the talk.
Welcome home.
WSJS Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, Burlington. Online at WSJS.com. You've always been curious. Over time, you've wondered about the best news source, the hottest sports updates, even the weather reports. But as the weekend approaches, make sure there's one decision you're certain about. WSJS.com. No second guessing ever. We bring you the latest news, talk, sports, and weather. Tune in live worldwide. Explore your favorite show hosts and our exciting contests. At WSJS.com, we keep you informed and entertained. WSJS.com.
The Twin City Thunderbirds bring you an electrifying night of hockey that your team will never forget.
Perfect for employee appreciation, team building, or celebrating milestones. This is entertainment that fits any group size.
Feel the adrenaline as the thunder rises and rivals fall. Make it a company outing like no other.
Like Frosty Fridays, all beer just $4. And all Saturday games enjoy $2 hot dogs.
Affordable, unforgettable, and just a click away at TwinCityThunderbirds.com.
Bring the storm. Let it thunder.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Mr. Griffin.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Hey, everybody, this is Jeffrey Griffin. Christian and I won't be with you Monday as we're home to celebrate and observe the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, but we'll be back Tuesday morning for Triad Today. The time for class, Between the Pages, Mom Life, Brain Power, and a whole lot more. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday at 7. Bye-bye.
Waking Up Proud on WSJS. Fueling fans, flavor, and fun. The morning show that's always on the prowl.
Make way for the king.
This is Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck.
Happy Saturday. It is Waking Up Proud, and I am Stephen here on WSJS. Don't forget, streaming anywhere you go with us, WSJS.com. And I hope you'll follow along with us at WSJS Radio and at Stephen Beck PS on X. Coming up here later today, we got some Duke basketball for you. Our coverage starting at 5 as Duke travels to play out west at Stanford. So follow along with us here on WSJS for that game. We are going to get you set and ready right now, though, for your beautiful, not Saturday outside.
Hot off the prowl with Stephen Beck.
I say it like that because the weather is a top story in our area, really primarily because of tomorrow more so than today. Today is just kind of nasty. There was some sleet and mix and rain and stuff falling out there if you haven't been out yet. But tomorrow is the day that I've seen conflicting reports. Some say good chance that we'll see some snow. Some are thinking, I don't know if all the right recipes are there. There is a 55% chance that we get snow, but everything should clear out. And projected sun for Monday, highs tomorrow 39, and on Monday is 45. A group right now having to be out in this weather and face that is a group of monks that are journeying across different states, walking on foot for peace. And they're set to arrive into our area really tomorrow night, maybe Monday. There's fluctuating time frames. What's kind of cool is if you're really following these gentlemen on their journey from Texas to DC, you can go online on Facebook, and I believe that they try to show their path and where they're going to be stopping every night in their journey. But that is something that's happening where they've started, as I mentioned, down in Texas, trying to work their way all the way up to the Capitol building in D.C., and they're doing it on foot. And journeying in this weather is not something that is for the faint of heart. What is also hitting our area, not just flu cases that have been in the news, but now measles cases with 2 new ones confirmed in North Carolina. 9 are now the total confirmed measles cases since December. We're better off than South Carolina. And just to give you kind of an idea of where all of these are sitting, we've had 5 cases confirmed in Buncombe County, 2 in Cabarrus County, 1 in Polk, and 1 in Rutherford. Our Carolina Panthers did fall in the wild card round to the Rams. We mentioned the Rams earlier as we look ahead to the divisional round games coming up starting today and going on tomorrow. And they really fared better than I ever thought that they would a second time around. You know, defeating the Rams in the regular season, a high-powered offense led by Matthew Stafford and Kyron Williams, and you got Puka Nacua. I mean, so many different weapons and tools there going up against a Panthers offense that I feel like, man, when the world was up against them, they defy odds. When they had things kind of going for them, they were a mess. And they stayed in the game. It came down to the fourth quarter. You have to be somewhat positive and happy about that, especially being a losing team that backslid into the playoffs. And now we hit a time in the season, the off season now for the Panthers, that I feel like arguably might be more important than just the little playoff stretch that they ran. I know that sounds insane, but quite honestly, come on. Are they really going to get to the Super Bowl? They just don't have those pieces yet. And this stretch right now that they're in, they could actually establish some of those pieces. So I wanted to try to highlight some items that I feel like, wow, these have to be the focuses for Dan Morgan and the Panthers coming up. We'll start here.
Number 5.
They've got some key unrestricted free agents that they need to sign, in my opinion. They have a total of 19 unrestricted free agents, I should say. The top ones for me, they start at the offensive line, a unit that really, with a lot of injuries that went through it throughout this season, they fared relatively well. And Cade Mays, Austin Corbett are 2 pieces to that I feel like they do need to get back on the team for this next year. Christian Roseboom, middle linebacker for the team, flew all over the place, not quite to the levels of where Kuechly was, but again, I think a solid contributor that I'd really like to see them get back. And these other 2, they're a tandem that, man, they're perfect match made in heaven. The long snapper, J.J. Jansen, the longest tenured Panther out there ever. We got to get him back, of course, right? And then the punter, Sam Martin. So those are your top unrestricted free agents I think they got to go after first.
Number 4.
This next one is really interesting because I understand why folks argue both ways. Rico Dowdle, running back for the Panthers, his first season with us after being in Dallas and looking for a more consistent team to be with, did a 1-season contract with the Panthers, try to prove it all out there, and man, I really think that he did. Now, before I just lay some stats out there, he was asked about his outlook earlier this week on free agency.
You know, it is what it is. I only control what I can control and go from that, but that definitely plays a factor.
You can tell crowded locker room there, but if you couldn't really make that out, he's just, oh yeah, whatever. I can only control what I can. Now, what he has made very clear is he wants to be the top guy. He wants to be the go-to. He wants to get the lion's share of carries. And for the most part, I don't know that the Panthers are in a position that they could promise that. Should they? That's a fair question. They should. For this season, Dowdle had an average of 63.5 yards a game, finished with 1,076. That's about 4.5 yards per carry. But where is that really amongst other backs? That's 14th. Pretty high for a running back on the Panthers that really has finally put a new influx of offense since getting rid of Christian McCaffrey. And why this decision might be hard. Do we sign Dowdle to a long term? Can we make him the featured back? Is because of Chuba Hubbard. And I understand that is the discussion that everybody always kind of falls back on. Chuba Hubbard, what's his contract? Well, we just gave him a 4-year extension. That's all the way through 2028. But while Chuba improved as we got deeper into the season, and yes, he is kind of that bruiser back. It's a 1-2 punch usually with these two. He ranked 41st in the NFL in yards per carry. And for rushing touchdowns, even where you would feel like, man, that's where we got to utilize a guy like this, he was really only tied for 46th in the league. So some serious questions that I think the Panthers need to consider heavily there before making an exact move.
Number 3.
Now, Xavier Legette is just a specimen in who his personality and character is to begin with. He likes eating raccoons. He does some funky things. If you haven't heard his accent, I encourage you to go listen to it. But late in the season, into the playoffs, he's lining up offside. He really hasn't proven and shown very much despite all of that. And the obvious fact that Jalen Coker and Tet McMillan are your numbers 1 and number 2 wide receivers on this team. I feel like we have the luxury of Legette still being under contract as a rookie, and we just got to find a way. We got to coach this guy up better to make it work with him.
Number 2.
Yes, the Panthers picked up a 5th-year option for Bryce Young. Okay, that's fair. But now that we've bought ourselves a little bit of time, let's use this time wisely. I think that if Bryce has shown enough for Dave Canales, Dan Morgan, for the team, maybe for you, to be the starting quarterback, he still needs somebody pushing him. I like Andy Dalton. I don't mind that he has been a solid vet backup quarterback behind Bryce. But I feel like just giving the keys to the car to little son Bryce Young and saying, okay, have your way, do whatever you want without any kind of competition, without anybody behind him to push, and let's see if this is the real deal. And if not, hey, we've got an alternative option. I feel like that's doing a disservice to yourself.
Number 1.
And number 1 for the Panthers on this offseason that we are now in the midst of, I think that they need some help on the offensive side. Again, it connects with Bryce, but I'm not going to necessarily say it all has to be Bryce. I do think that maybe the offensive play calling needs some attention. And yes, that has been controlled by Dave Canales. But if he is the head coach and he's got tons of jobs, and can he be a game manager, and is the team in the best situation that they need to be in? I don't know that that's true. You see, the Panthers had an offensive dip this season where they averaged about 18 points per game. That's down from 20 a season prior. And yards per game, they averaged around 295. That's down a few from the season prior as well. So again, while I don't know who it would be, I just feel like getting Dave some help, maybe an extra set of eyes to help control the offense. You got to look at those 5 things into this offseason period. Coming up, we're going to have Dave Pulaski. He's the voice here on WSJS of our high school football games of the week during season. Central football and High Point, our topic, because they're putting their season on a pause. Get more of those details from Dave coming up next year on WSJS.
Growing up, I was captivated by stories of change and unity, heroes who fought for justice, equality, and freedom. Dr. King's dream wasn't just a tale, it was a call to action. Today, we amplify his message in our hearts, every single day.
At WSJS, we broadcast hope, unity, and equality. Tune in to let freedom ring on every frequency.
I'm not just listening to the dream. I'm letting it guide my actions.
WSJS honors Martin Luther King Jr.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call the Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call the Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Turn me up. Let's go! Carolina mornings start here on WSJS with Stephen Beck and Waking Up Prowl.
Back on Waking Up Proud, and I am Steven. Throughout this morning, we've been discussing a little bit on High Point Central's football program being paused for this next season. And honestly, I am not the go-to in all things high school football, but man, I know the guy to turn to. Joining us now on Waking Up Proud on the News Talk Sports Station, the Triad WSJS, our go-to when it comes to high school football coverage in the falls, Dave Pulaski. Dave, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, doing well, Steven. How about you, man?
I'm good, buddy. Thanks for catching up with me. We're a little out of season, honestly. The last conversation I had with you, you were getting set and ready to call a final championship game for Reidsville, and we were previewing that and getting set to kind of finish up the season for you. Now here I am bugging you again. Are you even awake?
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, it was earlier when I was at Lenore Ryan talking with you for that Reidsville and Brevard game. So, I mean, right now I'm feeling pretty spry.
Yeah, no kidding. But people should know they can also catch you as part of Learfield's coverage when it comes to college basketball as well. So it's not like you go into complete hibernation mode. But we're excited to have you nonetheless, while this topic may not be as exciting, quite frankly, for High Point listeners here in the Triad, because those that may have missed it, High Point Central announced this week that they would be terminating their schedule for the upcoming fall football season and essentially just kind of taking the year off, as I understand it. Is that the way that you're seeing things as well?
Yeah, from what I'm seeing from the reports, it looks like they're going to have only a JV football program for next year. They're taking a pause from the varsity program. They went 0-10 last year. They didn't score a point during the entire season. So I can understand what the frustration would be among the administrators and everybody like that within the High Point Central program. But I mean, Stephen, this really brings about a lot of questions that can stem from that, right?
Yeah, the questions immediate that I have, I'm going to pitch them to you and hope that maybe we can stumble upon some answers. But, first is I'm a junior at High Point Central, and man, I've been dreaming about playing my senior season. There's just something about that time. I don't know if they still get Letterman jackets or not, but you get the ring and you get the Letterman jacket and it's senior year and you're just looking for all the feels, all the nostalgia to go into the future. And all of a sudden you look up and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, guys. Like I wanted to play, for my school. Do you think that those players are going to try to jump ship, find a place to play elsewhere, or are they just kind of out of luck?
Well, I mean, if they have the desire and the want to go about and continue playing varsity football, then obviously they're going to jump ship and they're going to go somewhere else. I mean, there's numerous other programs in the area. You have Southwest Guilford, you have TW Andrews. I mean, the thought of jumping to your arch rival a few years ago probably would have been unheard of. But now in this transfer portal era, both in college and high school, it's become much more commonplace. You have Ragsdale not that far away as well, which is rebuilding that program under Antoine Stevenson. So if guys want to play, they're going to find spots to play. And if you have a chance that you can make an impact on a roster, you're going to have other schools that are going to be calling your name, especially in the wake of this recent announcement.
One of the reasons that the administration gave to their cancellation of the season was out of safety concern. And as somebody that is a football fan, not necessarily the closest to the high school element as you are, Dave, is that because so many of these players on Central this last season and coming up through the ranks are at risk of something? Are they smaller? Are they at risk of getting hurt? I'm trying to find the angle of, is it more of a physical risk or is it a mental risk?
I mean, if I were to come up with a theory on that, I would say it's probably more of a physical risk, and I would probably say that it would be more of a manpower kind of thing. The numbers of the football program, where you don't want it to turn into the movie Necessary Roughness, if you remember that one from the '90s, where they were playing Iron Man football with 13 guys on the team. That opens the door for potential injury when you have guys playing 48 minutes the whole way through. You want to have a certain number on the varsity roster in order to field a competitive team and to have a team that can make it through the grind of a 10-game season. So I would think that would probably be the more prominent effect of any potential injury or safety concern. I think from a mental standpoint, I mean, yeah, it stinks to go 0-10 and go 0-10 in back-to-back years and only have 2 wins in the last 4 years. But you look at other programs around the state, they've had to endure that as well. You look at Garinger High School down in Charlotte. They've been surpassed by a lot of the other Charlotte schools. They lost 48 in a row going into the season opener this year before they ended up snapping that losing streak. So it comes down to an attitude and a chance to try and transform that program into something positive. And, Garinger was able to do that, at least to that extent, by snapping that losing streak. But I would say in terms of safety concerns, I think it would be more of a physical thing in terms of the number of guys who would actually be on that varsity roster.
Dave Pulaski joining us here on Waking Up Proud. You can also hear him on WSJS all throughout the fall, our WSJS high school football games of the week hosted by Dave, and look forward to having him with us in another season where unfortunately Central will not be a part of that in High Point. With the college football championship coming up here and Indiana being in that game, Miami, you could also say, if you don't feel like going all the way back to like 2001, we're talking about some sleepers making it to the finals. To your point, Central being 0 for 0 for. Is there something being lost here? Would it be fair for me to think players enduring, students, young minds enduring something challenging like a season they had a year ago and still coming back and staying committed, that might be a more valuable lesson than just saying, let's cut tail and run?
Well, I mean, that's kind of been the overlying thing in terms of the transfer portal nowadays too, right? Where it's like, oh, my kid's not getting enough playing time, I should go to a different school and try and play somewhere. You see that throughout the college transfer portal, where you have all these kids going into the portal thinking, oh, I'm going to build a new start for myself somewhere else. And then they don't even get offered by somewhere else. And sometimes it's better to just stick it out and, be patient. And I think that's one of the things that has kind of overrun athletics in recent years, is that the lack of patience. There is an immediate satisfaction kind of thing that goes on with that. And if you don't get what you want immediately, that it's time to try that somewhere else, instead of just waiting it out and trying to, be patient and build yourself into being a better person and a better athlete and a better player by sticking with that program and with that coach or whatever else. So there's something to be said about the character of the guys who wanted to stay and who wanted to stick around and who wanted to keep this program going. And let's face it, Stephen, there's a trickle-down effect to this too. You think about guys who are multi-sport athletes. If they don't get an opportunity to play football somewhere at High Point Central, they're going to want to go somewhere else. Let's say they play on the basketball team. That Bison basketball team is pretty good this year. They're 9-5 so far this season. So there might be a trickle-down effect of that, where you're going to have an athletic drain of the other sports programs because you're not fielding a football program. So there's a lot to be considered here if you're High Point Central.
I know coming up this fall, there'll be a lot of High Point locals that are disappointed, and even more so from competitive schools like Andrews missing out on that rival game as well. So, there's a lot of fallout to come from this, I'm sure. Dave, I appreciate you jumping in and on the phone with us to give us your thoughts and feeling.
Yeah, well, we'll have basketball and baseball keeping me occupied in the meantime. But, you think about this High Point Central program, it's not all that long ago when they were on top of the state. They won the state championship in 1999. So this isn't a dead-in-the-water program. They've struggled in recent years. Like we said, 2 wins in the last 4 seasons. But this is a program that has a lot of pride, a lot of tradition. And with the right coaching and the right system and the right players in place, they could turn it around. And I think they could turn it around pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting to see if they decide to stick with this and what the fallout might be if they do decide to go just JV for the upcoming season.
We know the guy to count on. Dave, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving us the insight.
You guys, Stephen, anytime.
And I do think the fallout is much, much deeper all around the community of High Point. Maybe we'll get back to that. But coming up next, if you like Yellowstone, man, we got it right here in our own backyard, North Carolina. We're coming back on Waking Up Proud, WSJS.
In a fast-paced world, staying connected to what matters is crucial. WSJS.com brings you the latest in news, talk, sports, and weather, all from the comfort of your home. Listen live worldwide and immerse yourself in engaging shows with your favorite hosts. Discover concert info, exciting contests, and join us at live appearances. Cheer for your local sports teams and feel the pulse of your community. Stay informed and entertained with WSJS.com.
It goes from zero to Brewtiful in just a whip. Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. A sip of heaven that took a right turn at delicious and landed in the hearts of coffee lovers everywhere. With its fresh specialty roasted beans crafted to order, each cup is a journey from smooth blends to bold global roast. Only Foster Hobbs could brew this kind of magic, and it's called coffee. Now available at fosterhobbs.com. Brew your bliss today.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-791-1313. That's 800-791-1313.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Where Carolina sports meets Carolina flavor. You're waking up proud with Stephen Beck.
Good morning to you. Waking up proud here on WSJS, and I am Stephen at Stephen Beck PS on X. And don't forget ProudSports.com, where there's more blogs and there's more podcasts and video content. One thing we don't want you to miss is the NFL playoffs. Those are going to be here on WSJS as well. Both games tomorrow you can find here between the Houston Texans and the Pats at 2 p.m. our coverage. And then later in the afternoon, you have the LA Rams taking on the Chicago Bears. That game gets started at 6:15 here. And today we also have Duke basketball, our coverage starting at 5 for that game between the Blue Devils at Stanford out west. Something that's happening, though, here at home, it was based off of Midwest. It's here in our own backyard, is our own very own episode of Yellowstone, I feel like. It's either that or you might expect the other story that goes with this to happen in an abandoned warehouse in the Bronx somewhere. But a North Carolina farmer reported that 11 of his cows were stolen in Nash County off of his property. David Griffin is the farm owner, and he noticed that, what happened here? Some animals of mine are missing. And the Nash County Sheriff's Office came out. They started investigating it, and Keith Stone, the sheriff there, did confirm this report. The farmer himself is offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads to the recovery of the cows or that could lead to a possible arrest. But for me, I just don't know that that's enough to really move the needle. I think a lot of this happened for David around the calendar year changing over. And I've watched some episodes of Yellowstone. I've seen John Dutton and the boys out at his ranch. $5,000. That's nothing. I'm thinking for David, he needs to get himself and a couple of his boys, his wranglers, to start branding some people and I don't know, whatever else it takes to try to get to the bottom of these cows going missing. So that was in Nash County. In Forsyth County, instead of cows, they're over there dealing with chickens. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office this week say that they uncovered one of the largest ever organized cockfighting rings that they've seen in North Carolina. During their investigation, officers showed up originally for a well check, which is essentially where somebody calls and says, like, hey, I haven't heard from so-and-so in a while. Can you go over to their property and just check on them to make sure everything is okay? Or, hey, maybe I've seen a little bit of suspicious activity. Maybe go check that out, my neighbors. And so they go head over to this property to do this welfare check. And next thing they know, they're staring at more than 400 roosters. They're all being kept in cages. And not only were the roosters there, but the deputies also recovered around 1 kilogram of cocaine, some firearms, and some cash. And you start putting all these pieces together. That's not just trying to get some eggs to hatch. That's the wrong bird, number one. And the other things that go with it are presenting a different discovery here. So now they have obviously found a total of 6 people charged in this cockfighting ring here in North Carolina, and you never know what you're going to find out. I appreciated having Dave Pulaski on with us this morning as part of Waking Up Proud on WSJS. As I said, you could hear him all throughout the fall here when he does our high school football games of the week. And I wanted to circle back to this while we're talking of North Carolina, different things happening in communities. One out in Nash that needs to be out of John Dutton's book, and one in Forsyth County where if you're looking for a rooster, I bet they've got some for you right now. Mine circles back to a hometown that I was born and raised in and still a resident of, and that's High Point. And this Central football pause was one that I think it's just scratching the surface as to what the real problem might be, but also the real goings on are. Instead of it just being centered around one football program and the fact that they only had 17 players at times and they hadn't won a game in 2 years. They won one 3 years ago, but they haven't had a winning record since 2015. I start doing some of my own digging. I talk with the principal, Mike Hettenbach, over at Central. Great guy. Took the time. In fact, he shared with me that if there are folks that have questions or they want to try to get involved and help in some way, give his cell phone out. Not going to do that. But the sentiment does remain the same. He is trying to do whatever it is possible to get his school not only to move forward and be better than it was when he took over there 4 years ago, but also this football program. He shared that the past 4 days since making this announcement, he's as much of a principal of football than he is of the school. But I want to save Mike Hettenbach, that is, a little bit of stress. And that's to share that some other community members, with this story being on the radar now, came to me and said, Stephen, this really goes back further and deeper than this. And I started kind of thinking and digging, and I found that it's not just a sports thing. It's a whole community thing sitting there in High Point. And the folks that know and have a better handle, probably because I'm younger in age than they were, and I just didn't see it quite as much firsthand, or at least that I could remember. They go back to times when NAFTA started and when the TPP started. And these are trade agreements that ended up sending a large portion of the infrastructure, the manufacturing jobs, the businesses that were all around textile and furniture. And I know China played a huge role in this when companies found out that they could get their things made much cheaper abroad than they could here in the States. All the work and the community aspect that developed in these large, huge corporations, it disappeared. It left High Point. And with that, those blue collar folks that really circle around things like a football program, they're gone now. And earlier I mentioned a TV show that I felt like brought this about really good. A movie that you could also kind of think about is Rudy. I love the movie Rudy. And in that movie, just the pride and the passion that his family and the community that they were a part of had for not only high school football, but all the way leading up to the Irish football program. I mean, it was just entrenched in their whole life. And we're long gone from those days, in my opinion. It's probably why I've shared a couple times, I'm not like the biggest high school football guy. I didn't grow up in a time, in an era, but maybe because of the NAFTA and some of the jobs leaving and exactly what has happened here, I wasn't a part of a time when, we got to be at that football game in High Point. I know that the Andrews Central rivalry has been so big at one point that they had to put like a fence, a structure up in A.J. Simeon Stadium to separate the sides. Yes, because there were fights and extracurriculars going on between the fans. And yeah, you don't really want it to boil over to off the field necessarily. But at the same time, that's how big that these games were. And now you're kind of talking about a community that is lacking connectivity and togetherness. And I don't know exactly how you get that back and where you try to claw back to. I shared earlier, NASCAR's doing some stuff in their own sport. I've said, that college basketball right now stands at the precipice of possibly making some choices in their own sport that could seriously change its future. I mean, there's a lot of repercussions based off and around things like this. I'll tell you a repercussion, $500 million. That's going to get somebody moving, and I've got the news on that coming up next here, a part of Waking Up Proud on WSJS.
This Tuesday afternoon at 2, something big happens on WSJS.
Hey, Josh Graham here.
No, not that guy. He's still here. This guy.
I don't know, but it makes me laugh.
Yep. And he'll be followed by these guys.
What's going on?
What's up? Big facts.
The drive is swirling. The drive is buzzing. And we'll drive it all home this Tuesday afternoon at 2 when Sports Talk hits top gear on WSJS.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
In a world that moves a million miles a second, Haagen-Dazs invites you to slow down and savor every delicious bite. Take it one almond at a time with the Haagen-Dazs Vanilla Milk Chocolate Almond Bar. Madagascar vanilla, rich milk chocolate, and toasted California almonds make this unmatched icon legendary. Whatever Dazs you savor, a snack bar or your favorite flavor, say goodbye to the fast life and hello to savoring the finest ingredients and the richest and creamiest ice cream. That's Dazs, available at retailers nationwide.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
It's pure delight to sip your morning brew and soul-soothing to savor every drop. Thanks to Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters, where every small batch is roasted to order, crafting flavors that dance on your palate. From smooth everyday blends to bold single origin roast, each cup is a journey around the globe. Fresh, flavorful, and fulfilling. Elevate your coffee experience at Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. A higher quality coffee serving a higher calling. Available at fosterhobbs.com.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Delsing, a two-time All-American and PGA Tour veteran of 25 years. I know the game of golf inside and out. Each week, we'll feature celebrity golfers, share their laughs, inside stories, and offer great tips to improve your golf game.
I wanna swing, don't you wanna swing with me?
Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Winston-Salem, proudly serving our community for over 50 years. That's Golf with Jay Delsing, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on WSJS.
from the mountains to the coast. Waking Up Proud keeps it Carolina on WSJS.
What is up? Thanks for being with us on the News Talk Sports Station, the Triad WSJS. Waking Up Proud here with Steven at Steven Beck PS on X and ProudSports.com all throughout the rest of the week with some merch stuff going up over there, blogs, videos, other podcasts. I hope you'll join and take us with you all throughout your week as well. And Bill is one of those that came to me on social media, made a good point this morning after I just scratched the surface, or I feel like the news related to High Point Central's football program was just kind of at the tip of that iceberg. Well, Bill alludes to another thing in college basketball that is just scratching and clawing at the top of this surface. And it's hard when you format things for a 2-hour program. It goes so fast, so quick. It's hard to get to everything. Well, this is one of the ones that, man, I feel like, yes, people should know about, especially college basketball fans like me. And even more so because NCAA is a part of it here. But 20 men now this week were charged and found to have been doing point shaving, a scheme that had more than 39 college basketball players, more than 17 NCAA Division I teams involved in. You know, sports gambling, I gave you some lines with the NFL games earlier, but it is a big time market. It is a big time thing and only getting greater and greater. And among some of the wagers that were listed in the indictment of these findings was a $458,000 wager on Towson to beat NCAA. And you want to talk about something that is just at the tip of a much greater iceberg below the surface? I'm going to tell you it's that. If you remember Donaghy, which was a official in the NBA that was in a lot of hot water, maybe I'm going to say 15, 20 years ago now. It may not be quite that far back, but that was way before his time, clearly, because I feel like we're going to see more and more of this same kind of deal where it's like, okay, that player had some money on his own game, missed some shots on purpose, or maybe he didn't have it on his own game. Maybe he had it on props for himself and it took over again. I don't know. There's just so much that is right at the tip of becoming a much greater problem. I have to tip our cap here to myself and Waking Up Proud, and hope you were a part of this. On our second show, we said at that time he may not be playing in Live Golf anymore. Then he shared his announcement that he was going to leave the league, and that set up, okay, some questions. How's this going to play out? And now, that's exactly what has come to fruition. Brooks Koepka, we've been talking about him. He is going to officially return to the PGA Tour, which the tour is now back underway. This is their first weekend of their long season. And for Koepka, he gets to jump right back in. He's going to be at the Farmers Insurance Open and the Waste Management Phoenix Open, both of those coming up. All a part of the PGA Tour doing exactly what I asked for them to do, the right thing. They created a returning membership framework. Now, it only applies to players who have won majors or the Players' Championship in years since 2022. So they did this very strategically to offer an opportunity to a very segmented portion of players that took off for Live Golf. Koepka was one of those guys. And when he wanted out of his agreement with Live, I said, look out here. This is just the start to some dominoes falling in the right direction. It's not made easy on him. For those that stand in the camp, probably, thinking, well, hey, he had his cake and he gets to eat it too now. He does have to make a $5 million charitable donation that's required with his entry back into the tour. He's ineligible for the tour equity program for the next 5 years, and that could cost him somewhere between $50 to $85 million in lost earnings. He is also ineligible for the 2026 FedEx Cup bonus payout that they get if you win the FedEx Cup at the end of this year. But the good news is, and this is where the PGA Tour made the right decisions with it all, he's still eligible to compete immediately. He's still eligible for the President's Cup. And even if he wants to be a part of TGL, I should say, he lives right around the corner from that in Florida. And so he can do all those things. Now, this returning membership framework, as I said, very segmented offering to a small populace of people that took off and shot out to live to get their paycheck. Koepka was the first. The other three are Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, and Cameron Smith. Very strategic with the ones that they're offering this opportunity to. And as these guys get set and ready for their live season, Bryson being one of those, this is from, mind you, a live press conference, getting them set and ready for their season. He was asked about all these happenings.
There was obviously some significant news in the golf world yesterday. Before we open it up to the room and the media gathered here, Bryson, I'm just curious if you want to share your thoughts on some of the recent developments.
Look, I'm contracted through 2026, so excited about this year.
So excited. You ever heard of a pregnant pause before? Whoo, that was a pause. He tried to say, look, before finally saying, I'm contractually tied in with Liv for 2026. I'm really excited. The PGA Tour has given these guys a deadline. It's February 2nd. They've said, hey, doors open right now until Feb 2nd. And then after that, this may not be possible ever again. Do I find that true? I don't know. I think for certain players, for future success of the tour, the door probably stays open almost forever because you would really like to have them back if for whatever reason Liv does go under. But at the same time, I'm almost of the mentality you've given them a gift here. And if they just look at that gift and they kind of scoff at it and it's like, I'm good, then at that point, I do feel like the next go around, when you do want these guys back, maybe that charitable donation goes from $5 to $10 million. Maybe the equity program loss is for a longer period of time. And I don't know what other repercussions that you could put on it, but I do feel like, man, if you're Bryson, if you're Jon Rahm, those two specifically, why are you waiting and delaying? I don't think that's a smart decision. Now, according to the Telegraph, Bryson DeChambeau has some serious hand. I don't know if you're a Seinfeld fan like me, but in Seinfeld, there's an episode where George, he is dating a lady and he's trying to fight for hand. And if you lose that hand, you don't have it anymore. You don't have the control or the upper strength anymore. You're kind of lost it. And I feel like Bryson right now has that because according to the Telegraph, he is up against a contract extension with Liv that is reporting he wants $500 million are his demands. And what's interesting about Bryson is it's either going to come down to that potentially. I feel like the better decision would be to get right back to the PGA Tour. But the third option is one of the crazy ones that most of these guys would never consider. And that is, I'm just going to play on YouTube golf. Forget about all this other tour stuff. Be interesting to see how this plays out. But hey, a little tip of the cap for those folks sticking with us here on Waking Up Proud. We had it. We've been talking about it. Stay with us for more next weekend as well here on WSJS, and big stuff coming up here on WSJS in the new week. Have a good Martin Luther King Day as well.
WSJS.com knows how much you crave the latest in news, talk, sports, and weather. We know you want to stay connected anytime, anywhere. That's why we offer live streaming